everybody, this is Big Ant. I wanted to welcome you guys again to another episode of the Bad Sausage Gaming Party podcast thing that we do from now, every now and then, I guess you could say. And as always, I'm joined by...
Death Vanquished.
Long pause.
Hey, it's not as long as it usually is. Don't give me shit.
And Biomonkey, and what is everybody playing right now?
I'm ashamed to admit it, but I am actually playing Unbound Saga, and that's only because it was 160 Microsoft points.
When?
I think it's still on sale for 160 Microsoft points,
Wow.
actually. That's not saying much for this game, though.
Well, I, Death Vanquished, am playing The Lost of the Damned, Grand Theft Auto.
And I am playing Fear 1 since it was on sale on Steam, and I'm enjoying the crap out of it.
Okay, let me understand this. I tried to get you guys to play Red Dead Redemption with me, and you said you couldn't because both you guys sold your copy. But yet you guys have a copy of Grand Theft Auto 4 still?
I have a copy of the hard disk of the expansions only, not the original one.
Ah, okay.
So,
I was going to say. So anyway, on this episode, we wanted to talk about E3, thing that went down, our thoughts on it, on everything that was shown, and pretty much, the consoles, the games, pretty much everything. Where you guys want to start, actually?
well, let's start with what was our biggest surprise. Basically.
See, that's the thing, is I don't think there were any really big surprises,
Far
which is
Cry
kind of what we
3.
said.
The biggest surprise was Far Cry 3, because that was the biggest surprise for me.
But see, it was a surprise for all the wrong reasons. It was a surprise because Far Cry 2 was horrible.
Yeah, that and there was no buzz at all about a new Far Cry game coming out.
No.
Yeah, not at all. Well, I mean, there is now, but I think it's because the game is so far off to begin with. I mean, this is like, we're just seeing the very initial stages of it now anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the biggest surprise was the fact that, no one saw that coming because the second one was so horrible.
Yeah.
But, of course, then they brought out the Wii U. What'd you guys think about the Wii U?
Meh.
Wii U.
The only thing I think about the Wii U is some rednecks butting through the country going, Wii U! Wii U! Squeal like a piggy!
Well, my question is, obviously I think the console, for lack of a better term, looks stupid. The whole idea
There
of
is
having
no better term.
having this incredibly glorified controller, where I think, Ian, you pointed out that the console can only support one of those controllers at a time anyway.
I pointed that out.
Which...
support one. So basically, think of the controller as a extension of the actual console.
Well, apparently, Nintendo said that they were looking into allowing two for one, up to two, but they said that it was going to cost way too much money.
And when you think about it, that's crazy because, the Wii is based on being a social platform. The whole idea of the Wii is having, like, 4 friends come over and play incredibly stupid and obnoxious games,
Bullshit. The point of the Wii is to sell peripherals. And guess what? The Wii U is selling another fucking peripheral.
Because basically with the Wii U, you still have...
it
still has that power. The Wii U still uses a Wiimote because it has all the HD connections in the back and also has a connection for the stupid sensor bar still.
I think the Wii U is just an incredibly just a huge step in the wrong direction for Nintendo, I think.
It's a sideways step. It was a sideways step.
Yeah, it's a sideways. Yeah, not in the right direction.
When the Wii was originally released, this is the console they should have released, and then this year they should have released the controller for it.
Yeah.
That would have been a better...
That's all it is. That's all it is. It's just the controller.
Well, here's another question. Do you think that people are going to run out and buy this console in just droves like they did with the original Wii, or what?
Yes.
Now, do you think that's because they have just such a fan base, or because people are honestly convinced this is a good system?
It's the fan base. And their fan base
because
is
it has
everywhere in all the media.
That's Mario.
Like people like Kotaku, people in all the big media outlets. Kotaku, IGN, not really Joystick, but most of the big ones, Kotaku and IGN for the most part, and One Up. They're all big Nintendo fans. Nintendo cannot do wrong, can do no wrong to those 3 sites. Those 3 sites, Nintendo can do no wrong. So those sites always pump up Nintendo products because they're fans of Nintendo. And then, Nintendo sells great because they have all these journalists, which are actually just media
those websites aside, there are a lot of just hardcore Nintendo fans out there anyway that just love everything Nintendo does.
I've been disappointed. the last thing I enjoyed from Nintendo was the DS. It was actually enjoyable, but for lack of a better word, there was just no games for a hardcore gamer for me to play on.
Well, there's no games for a hardcore gamer from anything Nintendo has to offer, period. That was one of the biggest problems with the original Wii console. Was, people were like, well, where are the hardcore games?
Mario Kart, it's just, I lost interest. Same thing with the Wii. I played the Zelda game, the Metroid game, and then there was nothing.
Well, let's be honest. People talk about how great of a first-party developer Nintendo is, or publisher, first-party publisher Nintendo is. But honestly, they haven't made a successful IP, a brand new successful IP, since Pokemon, and that was late '90s, mid '90s ish. It's like that's not a good developer or publisher.
And that's the problem, is people keep forgiving Nintendo for that anyway. They keep going, it's okay, they'll make another Mario sports game and we'll buy it. So it's kind of crazy, But aside from Nintendo's incredibly stupid Wii U system, what else from E3 did you guys like that you saw?
Honestly, there's one thing that I liked from the Kinect was the voice-activated feature software for what's it called? For Mass Effect 3. Yeah, that was the one thing I thought was cool.
I'm still just so bored with Kinect altogether. So I'm curious to see if we can finally start getting something fun out of it.
How can you be bored with it? You have one.
That's my point. I have one, and I don't even play it. I tried, and I couldn't get into it. But, I am curious to see, some of the more hardcore games coming out for it. Oh, yeah. And, and the directions those take this system itself,
Yeah. Other than games, there was nothing really there. The PS Vita was pretty cool.
It was, actually, surprisingly cool, considering how much of a flop I thought, the PSP was, and then the PSP Go was just a disaster for Sony altogether. But no, I think the Vita, everything considered,
Vita was an experiment. Remember, it wasn't real.
Of course, my
experiment, failed experiment, like Frankenstein's monster.
Pretty much, but no, I do
really
agree that the Vita was surprisingly cool, actually.
Well, the thing is, the Vita's doing what it's supposed to do. Like, people complain, they're like $250 for the Vita, but like, this is crap. I mean. Like this doesn't make any sense. Why would you release something like this in a tablet-dominated market? And it's just like, did you guys not hear? Essentially, the Vita is a fucking tablet.
It's running Android on it.
Yeah, it's an Android tablet. It is an Android tablet. Like, that's what it is. So it actually is pretty impressive.
It seems very impressive, actually. And I'm not even a huge handheld fan, and I thought, wow, that thing looks pretty cool. And the fact that, they're making a special BioShock game just for it, as well as, Uncharted, an Uncharted game for it. So, they're definitely going to have some pretty cool, cool games coming out for it, which, is essential for making sure a handheld survives on the market,
Yeah.
So I think that'll give it a real advantage over, like you were saying, current tablets out there today, is the simple fact that it'll have, much better games available to it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about picking one up, probably.
Yeah, Microsoft really didn't come out with anything at all impressive, so they announced Halo 4. It's like, okay, that's cool, but I wasn't like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Halo
that's cool. The biggest surprise about that was the rumors for the Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition. That's really cool for me. Especially they're keeping it, they're just putting a graphics layer over it, basically.
Well, and see, you and I had discussed this before. Like you said, this is just simply the original game with updated graphics, and here they are wanting to put it out for $40 as a disc game, and it's like...
Well, it has the multiplayer edition.
That was a lot more reasonable than $60 for ODST.
Yeah.
Yeah, ODST is $60.
It's a step in the right direction. $40 for that game is a step in the right direction.
Well, the other thing that surprised me, too, was, Twisted Pixel's Gunstringer went from being a $10 Xbox Live Arcade game to now as a full-blown $40 disc-based game as well. Yeah. And it was like, I liked the idea of that at $10. I don't know if I like the idea of Gunstringer at $40,
Sure.
Especially just for, a fancy Kinect game. That's, it's like much more appealing to me at $10. I was actually excited about being able to download a Kinect game for $10 off, the marketplace.
Well, now you can. It's called Fruit Ninja.
Oh yeah, my bad.
The guy with the cactus.
Yes, he's like trying to kill me now.
The Cactus Man.
Cactus Man.
Yeah, I mean, E3 this year was meh. You know, like, because usually what happens is that it's like, oh, well, here's the press releases, the press briefings. Oh, awesome, that's a lot of cool, interesting information. Cool. And then day one, oh, hey, look at all this new stuff being announced by all these like developers that had no ties to the major press briefings. Oh, those are really cool announcements. That didn't happen this year. Like,
Yeah, no, not at all.
No developer really came out with any news, like, outside the press briefings.
Yeah, that we didn't know.
You know, the saddest thing was, you know, the things that excited me most from E3, actually, this is sad, is the new game from Insomniac Games, which looks
Overdrive?
really... Overstrike.
Overstrike, yeah.
And I am thrilled to see Insomniac making a multi-platform game. Because I'm a huge fan of their Ratchet & Clank series and games like that. I love their sense of humor, so instantly, Overstrike to me looked really cool. So I'm really looking forward to playing that game with 4-player co-op. And then, as we mentioned too, you know, Inglorious Borderlands, you know, with the new Brothers in Arms game, actually looks like a lot of fun as well. I'm really looking forward to playing that. And that's what's sad, is those are the two most exciting things, I think, they came out of E3, at least for me personally anyway. I could care about everything else that was announced. You know, because there really wasn't anything that just blew my mind at E3 this year. And that's kind of what we said, you know, in our other podcast, that it's like, you know, will there be anything out there extremely impressive? And the answer was no.
I don't know. I fell in love with the bad guy, Far Cry 3. Like, that one cutscene was just like, yep, that is an awesome nemesis.
Well, let's just hope it's better than Far Cry 2, and that you can actually drive from one point to the other point without having to take out the same people over and
Far
over
Cry 2?
and over, and I couldn't finish it, dude.
I suffered through that. I was going to fucking beat that game. I suffered through that entire game.
I couldn't do it anymore.
So I feel like Ubisoft owes me a good game with fucking Far Cry 3.
Let's hope that they make up for it, because I simply couldn't finish it. You know, I got so tired of, you know, going, and let's face it, there were a lot of bridges in that game, and each time you came to
checkpoints.
Yeah, you had to constantly kill those people over and over, and it's like, come on, seriously? It's like, please stop respawning. Please, I just want to go over here and look for this diamond. Please, just let me do it. But, like I said, overall, I thought that it was a rather lackluster E3, you know, when all was said and done.
Yeah.
Not nearly as bad as 2008, though.
Yeah.
2008 was the worst. The worst I've ever seen.
That's true, but, you know, and ever since then, it's been really good, so that's why, you know, I had a lot of hopes for this year's E3, and needless to say, I was sorely disappointed, really.
You know what I really hope that comes in Grand Theft Auto 5, which I thought was going to be announced, because they apparently were going to announce some sort of open-ended, like it was rumored that they were going to announce some sort of open-ended game to come out next year, but apparently not. The one thing I really want in Grand Theft Auto, fucking recharging health.
That would be nice, you know, and it's definitely time for that to appear in Grand Theft Auto. We saw it with Fable 3.
Health is so cumbersome in this game.
It
like,
was.
If you go get food and shit, it's like, that's just so cumbersome. It's not fun.
Yeah. I mean, if you weren't using the cheat codes, that whole game was annoying, because every time you died, it was like, well, let me go get weapons again. Let me go get body armor again. Let me go fill up and get food again, and then try to finish what I was doing when I died, you know? So, playing it legit and not using the cheat codes, it got to be incredibly annoying.
Yeah, I never do use cheats in Grand Theft Auto 4, so, yeah, it was really annoying. And no checkpoint system, too. That's why I really fell in love with Saints Row 2. That's why I'm really looking forward to Saints Row 3.
Saints Row 3, you know what, I've never played any of the other Saints Row games. I'd always kind of avoided them in the past, because I always felt they kind of looked like a cheap, you know, GTA knockoff. But I hear nothing but good things about them, and I do admit that Saints Row 3 looks so interesting to the point to where I'm going to go pick up the previous Saints Row games and play them.
You don't really have to pick up Part 1. Part 1's kind of
Part
fun.
1, yeah, that's what I kind of figured. I was thinking about getting that double pack anyway. You know.
Yeah, but Part 2 with the co-op, when you can play the entire campaign co-op, is just awesome. It's something that Rockstar should have done a long time ago, and they're just...
Well, a lot of developers just totally miss the boat that people enjoy co-op, Like, a lot of people they miss that opportunity, and there's so many games that have, like, the perfect chance for co-op, and developers just completely overlook that. Yeah. And it's like, people do enjoy co-op. It's a lot of fun.
And I am getting sick and tired of, like, companies figuring out, people do like co-op. Well, let's just release a half-finished Horde mode. And people don't, tell the difference. It's like the new, what's it called, Spec Ops Survival. They showed it on Jimmy Fallon, and it was like, it's essentially just like combat training from Black Ops.
Exactly. It's just unnecessary. I mean, the Call of Duty would be a lot of fun with co-op. I mean, World at War offered it on the multiplayer side. You could do the single-player missions in co-op, and a lot of people did. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, which was really disappointing when Black Ops came out, and they was like, no co-op at all. It's like, but World at War had it. No. Kind of like we don't need it because we know we're going to sell buttload anyways.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing is they're right. But what's funny is I hear from a lot of Call of Duty fans that they're kind of losing interest in the series overall. I know a lot of people that's all they play is Call of Duty, but a lot more of them, more and more every day, are like, it's getting kind of boring.
I think a lot of people are waiting to see how Sledgehammer Games and Infinity Ward handle this, handle Modern Warfare 3. If it doesn't reach the expectations that a lot of people have, which it's funny because the expectations for Modern Warfare 3 on whether the game is going to be great are none. Nobody thinks that Modern Warfare 3 is going to be great. They just want it to be adequate and actually is as maybe as good as Modern Warfare 2.
Which is sad, really, when you think about it.
It's pretty sad when that's your fucking expectation. Could it be could it be like around as good as Modern Warfare 2? I know it sucked, but
no, they really want. They want Modern Warfare 2 with better graphics.
Oh yeah,
they want the same engine and everything with better graphics.
Oh yeah, because that once they release Modern Warfare 3, and it's going to play differently, it's going to the weapons are going to control differently. MLG and all the other competitive gaming leagues are going to be like, this is bullshit. You need to change everything back to the way it was. I fucking hate the crybabies. It's like you know what? What happens when the NFL changes a rule? Yeah, they'll be crying, but you know what? The NFL doesn't go, all right, you guys bitch and whined enough. We'll
put it back. Yeah, of course. And it is sad that people have kind of fallen into that routine of what they expect from a Call of Duty game. And it really is. It's almost like the Madden games where they get a release every single year, and it's just kind of like small, minor changes each year. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's a whole new game, whole new story, whatever. But at the core of it is still the same. You know what I mean? So it's kind of sad, really, just to see these, games just coming out year after year after year and just riding that money train,
Speaking of year after year after year, I laughed because I was reading this interview that guy from Microsoft Game Studios, the guy who was on the stage first, I can't remember his name. Then somebody asked him, I think it was Joystick, asked him, are you gonna release a new Halo every year? And the guy goes, oh no, we don't need to release that new Halo every year. We have to keep things fresh. I sit back and think, wait a minute, ODST, Reach, Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition, and Halo 4. All of those are going to be released within.
No, it's been annual. Yeah, Halo has been an annual franchise lately. There's no doubt about that. You can't deny that. It absolutely has been. Whether they want it to be or not, that's just the simple fact of it. But it's like I said, going back to what we saw at E3 and everything, I felt that the whole thing was rather lackluster, and it's kind of sad that the two things that I was most excited about were those two games I mentioned before. I mean, none of the Kinect stuff excited me. I mean, let's be honest, when they did that Kinect thing for Ghost Recon, I couldn't help but thinking of just what an idiot that guy looked like doing it.
Well, I've said this before. Okay, when that Gunsmith was first announced, I was all happy and that's so gorgeous.
The Gunsmith thing is kind of cool. Like, it would be really cool if I was playing the game with a normal controller while Kinect was there, and then I could use the Kinect to do the Gunsmith thing while I was playing the game. That would be pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure that you can.
Now, if that's the case, that's cool. Or if I have to use Kinect the entire time I play the game and look like a fucking idiot doing it, not cool.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be either or. You can do a little bit of both. I think you have to do a little bit of both.
I almost
that like when you go to Gunsmith, you wave and the Kinect recognizes you. When you're in like the actual
The core game, yeah.
Yeah, it's, you wave and Kinect recognizes you.
It will be interesting to see how it all pans out. And what's funny actually is one of the very first games that came out for the Kinect, was that Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1 game. Well, the sequel, Part 2, is coming out now because, the other movie's coming out or whatever. It's not a Kinect game this time. It actually has no Kinect features whatsoever this time. I thought that was kind of like, well, what happened there? Were they not happy with how the game worked out with Kinect? Because, they were one of the first proprietors of Kinect. When it first launched, that was one of the very first games you could get where it was quote-unquote better with Kinect. It's like, oh, okay, cool. And, here's the sequel, and it has zero Kinect support so far. And I thought that was kind of odd.
I don't know. I think Microsoft really dropped the ball by releasing Kinect.
Well, I don't think it was a bad move for Microsoft. It was definitely, something new and keeps it fun because a lot of people do enjoy the Wii. And let me put it this way: Kinect is a lot of fun with friends. Kinect is not fun by myself. So when we have friends over and everyone's like, oh, let's play a dance game with Kinect, that's a lot of fun, just as you would expect it to be. 4 of you making complete and total idiots of yourself in front of everybody else. So that's when Kinect is the most fun. I don't see Kinect being used with, Ghost Recon for like more than an hour is being fun. After an hour of crunching down and squeezing my hand for whatever reason to represent firing the trigger, I don't quite understand that, would get really annoying. What's that?
You open your hand to fire.
Well, you open and close it rapidly to fire each shot is what he was doing on the stage there. Yeah, that shit'll give me arthritis, dude. Okay, after an hour of that, I'm gonna be like, okay, my hand hurts. So I'm definitely not thrilled with everything that they showed with Kinect because it's just like we've seen it already. This is all stuff that Kinect should have done from the beginning, I think.
I still love the fact that Peter Molyneux is all like, oh no, don't think that the journey is the rails.
It's totally on rails. It's totally on rails. And it's funny because every Game Press site that said they got to put their hands on the game were like, it was totally on rails. How could it not be? Considering that he even mentions the game can be played sitting down or standing up. And it's like, well, then that means it's on rails. If you can play a Kinect game sitting on your ass, that's on rails. Which is just sad, too, to think that you're playing a Kinect game while just sitting on your ass. It's like, come on. At that point, you might as well just make it a truly voice-driven command. Attack. Spell this. Attack.
Oh, the disappointing thing, I didn't see at E3 this year was the sorcery game for the Move last year. I was hoping to see that this year, but it was nowhere in sight.
Yeah, they announced that stupid Mage Night thing or whatever.
Well, I had to remind a couple people that, when the Kinect was first announced 2 years ago at E3, one of the very first games they showed for it was the Star Wars game, which still isn't out yet.
They showed a lot more stuff on it this time.
That's terrible,
it's still an absolutely horrible on-rail Star Wars experience from what we've seen so far.
It's not really on rails, but it's not really playable.
It's on rails. It's like Time Crisis is on rails, dude. It's on rails. You may control your ducking and your bobbing left and right.
He was turning, like he was turning and stuff.
But you're not controlling the forward movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you already by leaning forward, your guy jumps forward.
But he didn't go out of that scene. You know what I mean? He just went towards the enemy. Well,
no, that's the thing. It's like you can only go towards enemies. Like you lock onto enemies and then you lean forward.
That's what I'm saying.
Your guy forward towards them.
It's still on rails.
It's not quite on rails. It's not much better. Still pretty fun.
But it's sad that game was shown to us 2 years ago for the Kinect, and it's like, oh yeah, it's still not out yet. Still coming. It's like, okay, at what point do we just not care anymore? Oh yeah, now.
When did we ever care? Honestly, I was reading some people talking about online, how everyone's getting sick and tired of Star Wars. They're like, it's like, you know what? From the 1980s to the mid-90s, you barely had anything, Star Wars.
Yeah.
It was like this thing that people talked about, and you saw it on television every now and then. Now, it's like every year there's a new Star Wars game or new Star Wars version or,
Clone Wars,
Clone Wars is on.
Yeah. Or stuff like that.
Exactly. It's like apparently, people start saying that they're going through Star Wars fatigue. Like, this is just getting ridiculous, the amount of, different Star Wars, stuff that comes out.
And it's true. Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but I'm still enough of a Star Wars fan to where I'm okay with that, though. As long as it's good quality content, you know what I mean? That's the other side.
But the Kinect game isn't good quality content.
No, it's not. I agree. But you know, the Old Republic looks really cool.
You know what? I like what game I really want to be have a sequel of is that damn Republic Commando.
Oh yeah,
because that game ends on a fucking cliffhanger. The Republic Commando ends on a cliffhanger.
Well, let's discuss, you know, some of the things that we were sad we didn't get to see announced at E3. Like the obvious one for me is Borderlands. I'm still pissed that we haven't heard about new Borderlands yet.
I was really hoping to see a Left 4 Dead 3 or
we didn't see anything from Valve, which was surprising. I mean, not a damn thing.
They were going to go, so I'm like, oh, I hope they see it as a surprise. But yeah, I was disappointed to see nothing from Valve, especially nothing about the Half-Life or any tease about that.
And that's the biggest thing too. It's like, at what point do we just give up and go, okay, they're just not making another Half-Life game?
Yeah.
You know, when does it become the next Duke Nukem Forever?
Well, at least Duke Nukem Forever for the first 40 years there's the constant news about it. Now there hasn't been a single new report there hasn't been a single new report for Part 3 or Episode 3 since 2007.
Yeah, exactly. It's
no
just been dead. Valve just pretends like it just doesn't exist. It's not even a thought in their mind, really, you know?
Yeah.
Which is just sad.
Well, some people have said that they just are like, some people joke about how Valve is incapable of making a third game of any franchise.
Which is true. Laugh all you want, but I mean, it so far has been true. We'll see. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Yeah, I mean, look how quickly they announced Left 4 Dead 2. 11 months after the first game. So it was surprising that we haven't seen anything for Left 4 Dead since then. I mean, nothing. Not even any kind of news at all about what the series has next, you know, if anything.
The only biggest thing coming from for Left 4 Dead 2 is a big update with a new map and all the maps coming from Left 4 Dead 1 to Left 4 Dead 2.
But we still haven't heard anything about when that's coming out to the console. That's kind of the problem.
That hasn't even come out for the PC yet. Just the beta.
Yeah, the beta. Gold Stream is out.
And you know, the other thing I said that really disappointed me was that we didn't hear anything from Gearbox about Borderlands, and instead we find out that Gearbox has their hands full now working on. They're still working on Space Marines, and now they're working on you know, the new Brothers in Arms game. And it's like, well, you know, what's going on with Borderlands? It's like, okay, you guys finished up Duke Nukem, if you could call it that, you know, and it's like, I want Borderlands.
Yeah, speaking of Duke Nukem, what are your impressions on that game?
Okay, I could easily see why. I just finished the game, and I can see why a lot of people don't like it. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a very outdated gameplay style. It really is just like the original, you know, like Duke Nukem 3D. You've just got hordes of enemies running at you. I mean, it has been improved upon a lot. I mean, it's not like the old days where it's just a big open area and here come a bunch of dudes running at you. I mean, it's still that kind of gameplay where you're constantly just strafing and walking backwards a lot to try to keep yourself alive. But I mean, overall, I enjoyed it, and not just because, you know, I'm a huge Duke Nukem fan. I mean, at no point was I like, wow, this game is epic. You know, but I did absolutely enjoy the game, and I can, like I said, I still see why a lot of people don't like it. You know, it was pretty much the same story as before. You know, you're Duke Nukem, the same aliens come, they invade Earth again, and you're pretty much using the same exact weapons that you did before.
Did you get sick and tired of Duke?
No, you know what? Surprisingly, no. I didn't actually. You know, he definitely had a lot more things to say this time around than he did the first time. And you know, and if there is one thing to say about the Duke Nukem game, it was actually, you know, I found it to be anyway a really funny game. There were quite a few times I was playing it where I just got a good chuckle out of it. There were numerous nods to movies. For instance, when you're in the titty bar and you press the ATM machine, it says "Feed me a stray cat." You know, no real spoiler here, but you're actually dreaming when you're in the titty bar. And when you go to your work desk, it has the little spinning top from Inception in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many just nods to like other movies, and there's even nods to other games, which revolve around one of the achievements, like a Buckethead, where they have the Master Chief armor in there. They also have Isaac Clarke in there, and then they have one of the psychos from Borderlands in the game as well.
Yeah.
And if you find all 3 of them, it's an achievement. So, I mean, overall, the thing that made Duke Nukem 3D a lot of fun was at the end of the day, behind all of its crass and nudity and ridiculousness, at the core of it was still a really good game. Given the time that it came out, it was still a really solid game despite the ridiculousness of it all. This time around, not so much. And, no fault of Gearbox's. They were, they picked up where so many other people left off. The game definitely shows its age, both in its graphics and its overall game style period. Just felt like a really outdated way of playing that game.
Well, you know what? People, I've been seeing a lot of footage of, everyone congratulating George Broussard and saying, oh, hey, your game finally got released. Congratulations. You know what? Fuck George Broussard. If it wasn't for him, that game would have come out a long time ago. He mismanaged 2 different studios. One of them got absorbed by another. The other one got shut down. He led to the job loss of dozens of people because he couldn't figure out how to run a damn studio, which caused so many people to lose their jobs. And he's just to reward this guy for all the bullshit stuff.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I agree. Screw that guy. I mean, he really had nothing to do at all with this game coming out at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, he may have picked up and started it, but it took Gearbox a lot of work to finish this just train wreck of a game. And it's funny because you can kind of see where halfway through the game you kind of see where it got lost, because you had mentioned before some of the reviews kind of said the first half and the second half just feel like 2 totally different games, and they really do, because you could tell that there was a lot of enthusiasm when the game was first being made, and then it kind of just trailed off towards the end. It just wasn't, the second half of the game wasn't as much fun as the first half. Because the first half there were just so many things that you can interact with, and for a Duke game, it was a lot of fun, you could constantly interact with this, you can interact with this, and he would say witty things and fun things and do all these really fun things that you weren't able to do in previous Duke games. And then halfway through the game that all disappears and it just became more, the second half of the game felt more like work than it did, playing a game.
Right? Just basically a shooting game.
By the time I was going through the second half of the game, I felt like I was kind of going, okay, I'm kind of ready for it to be over now. It's just not fun anymore.
So
the first half was a lot of fun.
Personality, basically.
It lost its personality halfway through. The first half had tons of personality, tons of stuff to do, lots of laughs, and then halfway through it just felt really mundane, monotonous. I just felt like I was just grinding, kind of going, okay, where's the end? Is the end
of the motions?
Yeah, exactly. Just following the motions and just trying to get through the game and call it a day.
I mean, yeah, because I was in the party with you when you started beating and getting close to the end, and you're just kind of like, let's just get this over with. And when the cycloid, spoiler alert.
I don't think it's any real spoiler. Like I said, this game is Duke Nukem 3D again.
Yeah.
Well, big surprise. The final boss is the cycloid again. It's and that's that's what I was talking about. There was the perfect opportunity to do something new with the game. Give us a new boss, a new, scenario.
I mean, you can still have pig cops and, the iconic characters.
Sure, absolutely. You can still have the
Zero Hour, I think, had a different, whole different, actual main enemy. But it still had pig cops. And Kill as well.
And even then, the boss fights were just like they were back in the day. It's a huge arena with you and a big giant boss, and you're just circling him, shooting at him. That was it.
Doom was the same way.
Of course, that's my point. This is Doom and Duke are both very old games. Yeah. And so, imagine if they made a Doom game this year where that was the end scenario. You against, a 50-foot tall boss where you just spend the entire time circling and firing rockets at him.
Really?
Yeah.
I never played Doom 3.
I played through it. And that's the way it ended. You end up finding this big-ass thing at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, the whole time I was playing, it was like, oh yeah, I remember doing this. This is how games used to be played.
Yeah.
This is how the boss fights used to take place.
It's kind of funny, though, that most of the game, does this whole old style, old feel, outdated feel, and then they do the new stuff with the regenerating health and only holding 2 weapons.
That was actually incredibly obnoxious, only being able to hold 2 weapons, mostly because I was going for the Gunslinger achievement, which requires you to take the very first pistol you're given at the beginning of the game, the gold one, and taking it all the way to the end of the game. So I actually made the game a lot more difficult for myself, in the simple fact that no matter what scenario I came across, I always had to make sure I held on to my pistol. Whereas, I gave up that option of carrying like an explosive weapon and like a machine gun at the same time.
Achievement war.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in achievement war.
Can you not drop the pistol, like set it somewhere, use two guns to come back?
I did that once and it disappeared and I freaked out and restarted the checkpoint.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because it fell on the ground funny and I lost sight of where it went, or if it just totally disappears when you swap it for another weapon. Okay. So either way, I wasn't about to risk it again.
I understand that, because if you can set the weapon down somewhere and just use the weapon for an area and come back to it, it made it a little bit easier to do that one.
It would, and so, like I said, it definitely made the game a lot more difficult playing it that way. But, it was still a fun challenge, so, I can't complain too much.
Yeah.
The game absolutely shows its age in every way possible, both, its graphics as well as its gameplay.
Game I was considering getting and that I really want to get now is the new Alice game.
I'm actually kind of pissed that I didn't get that instead of Duke Nukem.
Did you hear about the Alice, that new Alice game comes with
yes,
the original?
I've known about that for a while now,
yeah.
And I was kind of concerned because originally McGee said it would, and then EA was kind of like, we don't know about that.
Also, there's a 100 gamer score dedicated to it.
So it does have its own achievements. So.
Yeah, well, there's a 1,000 gamer score, but 100 gamer score of it goes towards the original Alice game.
Gotcha.
So.
See, that's cool, and I absolutely want to pick that game up, and definitely I want to buy it new just for that purpose.
Yeah, because you have to buy it new because it's a code.
Yes, correct, yeah. So, I absolutely want to get that game, and I want to play it new, or buy it new, just so I could play the original Alice, which was a great game in its own. And it's funny because a lot of people, that game kind of started slipping under the radar during its release date. For a while there, everyone was like, all excited about it, and then it came out, and people were kind of like, oh, I didn't know it came out already.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
The release date wasn't really.
No,
it was coming out soon, but it never said the release date.
As far as its PR.
The thing that actually made everyone realize it was coming out was when Valve removed it from Steam. When Valve removed that and Crysis 2 from Steam, that's where its news story came from.
Oh, did it remove Alice? Did it remove Alice from Steam?
Yeah, like Alice and
Crysis
2 were removed from Steam, and then they re-added Alice.
I didn't know. What was the
I
reason
think a lot of people were kind of concerned that they were doing that because don't forget EA is launching their own version of Steam now.
Yeah.
That they hope is going to be successful.
Origin.
And it's kind of a shame that everyone wants to do their own thing like that. It's like,
well, the issue with that is that it becomes a worse market than the console gaming market.
It does, because now I've got to go here to get EA games, and then I'm going to have to go over here to get, Activision games, and then I got to go over here to get these games, and it's like...
And then it's like, okay, well, I bought this game on Steam, now the game company who put it on Steam doesn't want it on Steam anymore, so now I have to rebuy it on this other...
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's kind of like the whole thing with Netflix, where a lot of the premium channels are starting to yank their content off of Netflix because they want people to have to buy Showtime and HBO in order to watch their original series. Netflix is kind of running into a lot of trouble where like Showtime and stuff like that are like, you know what, we're going to take our content back because we want people to buy Showtime to watch Nurse Jackie and, all of our other shows and shit like that. So
what's funny though is that when people can't watch your show on Netflix, you know what they do? Pirate it. Yep.
Of course, yeah. And that's something that they don't understand either. It's like, well, I guess to them it doesn't matter because they're, I guess they're not really making that money if someone watches it off Netflix anyway.
Netflix pays distribution fees.
I guess they do make some. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, it's like, if I just want to watch Dexter, I'm not going to subscribe to Showtime just for watching Dexter.
Yeah.
Considering it's, a lot of time in between seasons, it's like, I'm not doing that.
Because, I was looking at how HBO, I believe, has their own, digital distribution service. So if you subscribe to HBO, you can sign on, and your internet provider will tell HBO that yes, his cable bill has his cable provider does support HBO, so you get access to their site so you can watch their shows on their site. But
what's interesting is that I've got the Comcast app because I'm a Comcast customer, and I actually get all of that stuff on my app. I get access to all of the VOD that Comcast has to offer, and I mean every bit of their VOD.
I'm so sorry, Ant. I'm so sorry that you're on Comcast.
I'm thrilled, dude. I couldn't be happier. You know, and like I said, that app is absolutely amazing. The stuff that app does is just, it's so awesome. And the simple fact that it works as a remote for every TV in the house, too, is really cool. So I could just be sitting on the couch with my iPad and be like, you know, I'm going to watch this instead. But like I said, having full access to their video on demand library from an app is actually really cool. And that includes all of Showtime, all of HBO, all of Cinemax, everything that I subscribe to through Comcast. I get access to it.
Ant really wants a Skinamax on the road.
Oh, yeah.
You get a softcore porn watching.
So, yeah, it's definitely a good app to have on the road, just for the simple fact that if I want something to watch, it's like, oh, you know what, I can watch this, instead of relying on the hotel to have it, or, you know. But, back to, E3 and what we didn't see and what's disappointing us, I'm kind of concerned that Gearbox has their hands so full with other things right now. Well, when are we going to see the next, Borderlands? And what's going on? Space Marines is actually looking really cool. So kudos to them for that as well. I think that's another game that they picked up, another Orphan game, right, or no?
No. Sega and somebody else was working on. Actually, what's that company that did New Vegas and the second? No. The actual developer, Bethesda's a producer, publisher.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that they were the original developers.
New Vegas. Obsidian. Obsidian was working with Sega on a RPG alien game. Action RPG alien game, and that game kind of went down the tube, apparently. Yeah,
well, this game got I think, maybe I'm thinking of the other game, but I swore this game was announced a long, long time ago, and it was under a different developer at the time.
No, I believe Gearbox was always on the Colonial Space Marines. If it wasn't Gearbox, then it was probably Monolith, the people who did Fear, because I think they were possibly working on it because they work with WB.
What did we see from Bethesda this year at E3? I almost want to say that something from Bethesda actually looked pretty interesting.
Well, they were doing a shooter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's some sort of shooter that looked interesting to me. Now I don't remember what it was. Skyrim, I'm kind of about.
I don't know what Bethesda's working on besides Skyrim, which I'm really excited about. It's the only fantasy game that I'm excited about. But besides, what about Prey 2?
Prey 2, it looks better and better.
Bethesda's publishing Rage, aren't they?
Is it Rage?
What's that?
Bethesda's publishing Rage.
That's it. That's it. Which got delayed again.
But a month.
It doesn't matter, still a delay. But yes, you're right, Rage. Rage is actually looking really cool. It's a shame it's single player only, though.
Well, it has little co-op missions.
They think it'll be like racing and stuff like that, like and like you said, a few little missions here and there, but not true.
No, not true co-op at all. No.
Yeah, which is a shame because that game looks really cool. Like you had said, Prey 2 looks really cool as well.
I'm
really
hoping
wait.
They're lying about the whole not related to Prey 1 at all, to be like a big twist that aliens in the sphere are here.
Well, they keep saying it takes place in the universe, and it was funny because when I was watching E3, there somebody from the game was being interviewed, and I believe the interviewer asked them, do you think we'll see Tommy in the game at all? And he kept saying, no comment. And he's like, well, do you think we might actually see, this guy having to hunt down Tommy? Well, and the guy kept going, no comment. But then again, no comment could just simply mean no. You're stupid. Stop talking to him. Or it could mean what some people might think. Yes. So it will be interesting to see how it plays out in addition to, or in relationship to the first Prey game, which was one of the most unique shooters at its time.
Yeah, the portals in that game were just.
Well, not even just the portals, just the whole story behind it. The whole Native American thing with the aliens, and it was just a really cool story. But like I said, I do admit that live action trailer that they released looks great. It really makes the game look really awesome.
What do you think about the new Super Mario Brothers?
I could care.
Which one?
Which one, exactly?
There's the Super Mario Brothers Mii, or whatever. Super Mario Brothers Mii for the Wii U, and Super Mario Brothers Super Mario for the 3DS.
Yeah, I could care about Super Mario Brothers anymore at this point, to be honest. I mean, it's been so overdone at this point. It does nothing for me anymore. We've got enough fans to where it doesn't matter. There'll be a ton of people running out to buy the game that day. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to Fear 3 next week. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun as well. And it's sad because all the things that I'm most excited about from E3 this year are so far off. That's the other downside. And it's funny too because at this point now with Gears of War coming out in September, it's like I almost don't even care anymore. That game should have come out back in April when they said it was going to.
But they don't have anything else coming out at the end of this year.
It doesn't matter.
That was the whole point. Is that shit?
Of course, I know it's all about money, but it's like I don't even care. It's like by the time September rolls around, there's so many other games coming out in September that looked at. Well, actually, Rage was one of them, but like I said, now that got delayed. So I was really looking forward to it.
Batman Arkham City.
Batman, yeah, exactly. That's what it's like. They're like, we won't have much competition in September. It's like you got a ton of competition.
Not from PlayStation exclusives.
No, but that was never the issue anyway. It's just the issue of having competition, period.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I almost don't even care anymore that Gears is coming out in September. I do, however, want that Lancer replica, which looks awesome, the new retro one.
The gun nut in you wants that gun.
Yeah, the gun nut in Ant wants to be able to turn that into a real weapon.
Well, I already have the other one, so, I gotta have them both. I can't just have just the one.
But,
Everybody got quiet.
Yeah. Well, there just wasn't really much to talk about, and it's like that's kind of a sad state of affair. But yeah, it's like let's talk about E3. It's like, what about it? Well,
yeah, and we kind of said that going into it that I really didn't think that we were going to come away with from E3 going, oh my god, I can't believe so and so announced blah blah blah. So it was kind of to be expected, and that's exactly what it was. Overall, it was a rather lackluster experience. And it's funny, I do feel bad because Battlefield 3 was announced. We didn't talk about that. That looks cool.
Yeah,
really looking forward to that. And I feel bad because I had a friend of mine that went to E3. He actually won tickets from Microsoft, and I feel bad because they didn't give him press tickets. They gave him just general admission tickets or whatever. He spent 5 hours across 2 different days trying to play that game and never got in. I feel so bad for him. Wasted 2 hours on one day and 3 hours the next day, only to each time get there and then go, yeah, sorry, we're closing up.
But the thing is about Battlefield 3 is that I don't think they did a good job showing the game off to people who aren't fans of Battlefield.
Yeah, I kind of agree. You had said we keep seeing the same fault line gameplay, and then that tank video, it was like, I don't want to see these tanks. It's cool.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be fun when I actually play the game, but watching that, no, that's not fun at all.
No, definitely not fun. It's exactly like you said. You're watching them play, and it's like, this isn't the most exciting gameplay that you guys could have picked for this.
Yeah. Not when the 3 seconds where the music's starting up and you're seeing like these 2 seconds of like gameplay in between like the glitching of the video of the trailers. You're seeing all these massive worlds with a lot of shit going down. It's like you didn't want to show off any of those worlds.
Yeah, it was really interesting that they went so much with the tank gameplay and everything, instead of showing us something a little bit different. But at the same time, too, I guess that does kind of help people who aren't familiar with the series to see what it's all about, because, tanks and vehicles do play a large part in that series, So, it probably wasn't the worst idea, but then again, wasn't the most fun thing to watch either.
Yeah. And then when they show Operation Metro, it's like, okay, cool, you're showing
How cool are the new stab animations in that, huh?
They're executions, they look good.
They look... Now, I'm kind of curious what happens during that. Like, are you, like...
Well, from what Ian said, the Vanquish, is that there's 2 ways to kill people. You can either do a quick stab or hold the button down to do an actual death animation.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like they were talking about in their live stream that they were having over E3. Is that they said that you can like hit the button really quick and you pull out your knife and stab them really fast, or you can hold like push the hold down the button or something like that, and your character
actually that cool animation. Yeah,
it doesn't fly.
Now I wonder if they're going to do like Gears of War, because in Gears of War 1 you were invincible the whole time that happened. You used to chainsaw someone, you were invincible, and then Gears of War 2 was like, okay, you're not invincible anymore. So I'm kind of curious.
I'm pretty sure not, just like how you're not invincible when you assassinate people in
and Halo.
Halo Reach, and also I believe you're not invincible when you do that in Killzone 3, because Killzone 3 has those really deep character animations when you like sneak up behind someone and kill them.
That definitely looked really cool with the new gameplay, and so I'm definitely looking forward to Battlefield 3. That was another thing from E3 we saw a little bit more of that I'm absolutely looking forward to. And again, yet it's so far off.
Yeah, what's it in here? It's not that far off, but you have to go through the summer.
You know, well, it talks. You know, that the really thing that kind of bothered me when they announced the beta for
was that it was open to everybody. You know, after everyone went and bought Medal of Honor, it was like, oh, Medal of Honor comes with access to, you know, the bad company or the Battlefield 3 beta. We got to buy it. It's like, oh, it's just going to be an open beta for everybody anyway.
But then also the I think with is that the beta comes out a month before the game. It's like that's more like a demo.
Yeah, at that point it really is. It's not even a beta. I agree.
Same thing with Backroom 2. It came out a month before the game. 2 months.
Well, not for PS3. PS3 it came out like it came out in October.
Yeah, they had really early access to it.
Yeah. And so they could have all these changes done because the PS3 version, but but when the Xbox version came out, I don't think the game changed at all.
Some minor things about the UI, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Besides when they were just fucking up with the freaking balancing shit, which still pisses me off.
Yeah. Like there is such a thing as like developers. There is such a thing as overbalancing. When you make every weapon behave the exact same, there's no fucking point.
There's no point in having the different weapons. Exactly.
Yeah, everybody might as well be using the MP5 and a freaking generic assault rifle and stuff. There's one weapon per, just like they had in 1943.
Just in 1943, exactly.
Might as well
and it's like, if one weapon is just completely overpowered, I almost say let it be, and people will know if someone's using it. They'll be like, oh, that's that guy's choice. He obviously can't play this game any other way.
Just like people who use Magnum ammo. I'm so glad they're getting rid of that.
Yeah.
And then Reddit's whole like bitch fit about the physical warfare pack. They act like they actually changed something. We succeeded because they're going to release it to everybody. It's like, how do you know that they weren't already going to plan that in the beginning?
Exactly. And the sad thing is too, it's like, if you're really this upset about it and you really care that deeply about playing this game, you'd be fucking reserving it anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you not reserving this game if it's that big of an issue to you? I just don't understand. It makes no sense. But people are dumb, especially
people are self-entitled assholes, especially PC gamers. They think that, developers and publishers owe them the world because they spent, $900 on their PC, so they think that every game that comes out that they have to spend full price for has to be, God's gift to gaming.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But people are people. Well, anyway, we've been on for over an hour now anyway, so we should probably wrap it up, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were supposed to have Kona here to get his insights since he was actually at E3. But he's in a meeting right now.
He was at the Turtle Beach booth. That's where he was at.
But he's busy doing meetings with Turtle Beach right now and Summer's Eve. So that's understandable that he's pretty busy. But hopefully we'll get him in here soon and, get to hear his thoughts on what he saw and what he liked. And, I guess that'll pretty much wrap it up.
Yep.
Alright, well, thanks for listening, you guys. And as always, we'll catch you guys later.
Bitches.
Later.